Okay, vintage cube draft nerds, and there's Mana Crypt here. Arguably one of the best cards in the cube. I don't know where people have it in their list of power, but I do, in a lot of decks, prefer it over the coloured Moxen. Because it's the 0 mana Soul Ring, right? I think Soul Ring's universally better because it goes in more decks. I know Mana Crypt goes in every deck, but you can draft a deck where Mana Crypt's actively difficult for you to beat. Like the slow blue-white control decks, you have Mana Crypt, you play your Teferi, and then you die. Pretty tough. But no, one of the best cards in the queue. Great way to start a draft. Happy to wheel Voidwalker, Converter, Adeline, Probe, Mystical, Time Warp, any of these lands. Yeah, great pack. And it's a great pack because we get like the nut high, and then everyone else gets good quality mediums, right? We've got a Mana Crypt. Oh, there's a Palace Jailer there. That's all a bit boring, but it is very good. Do we want to draft Mono White? Yeah, why not? It's getting late. Palace Jailer's cracked. Carnage Interpreter's very good. There's a couple of burn spells here. We could wheel one of those. Wouldn't hate getting a Ledger Shredder or Retrofitter back. Arwen's fine. Now what? Okay. Okay. Bazaar I haven't found to be fantastic, but there's also a chance I've probably not just cast it enough to really maximise the card sort of thing. I think every time I've played it, it's just been a 4/5. But I think Guide of Souls is actually very good when your white decks descend down into mid-rangey crap and the board gets stalled, and suddenly you've just got a massive life buffer, and all of a sudden you're just attacking with freaking Fire Main Angels or whatever. Or Lightning Angels, I can't remember. Hey ho, Guide of Souls, in we go. Right. So this is like a not contentious pick, right? But there's a few options here. You could take the Hierarch, right? Go into a nice little Selesnya build. A lot of people don't fight over Selesnya, so you're going to get that Arwen back. You're going to get that Savannah at some point because that's not a high pick. Or you can take the Cathar Commando and say, I'm taking all the white cards. That's cool. The white cards are powerful. Cathar Commando's got flash. That's quite nice because you can bluff a Reprieve, play a Commando. Or then there's Troll of Khazad-dûm and Caustic Bronco, very good in your white-black disruptive decks. But then there's Lelia in what is probably one of the more contested colour pairs these days, red-white with Flage and Fourth lingering around. And Lelia's just the highest power level card in this pack, right? So we're quite early in the draft. I'm going to take the highest power level card in the pack. Because if all my white dries up and my red comes back round, then that's cool. Unholy Heat's cool. Lion's Eye Diamond's probably not the time and place for this. Nardu's a very powerful card. And then there's Reprieve. And Reprieve is just fantastic. So I think this is Reprieve. I can see, considering the two red burn spells, because we're passing those quite a lot at the moment, this Lelia may not make the cut in the end if we don't get the fixing for it, but we'll try. I'd love to try and play like a Nardu Omnath deck, but I don't think this start is leading us in that direction too much. So I'm just going to take the Reprieve because it's actually one of the nut high white cards. Lauren Portable Hole, Detective Phoenix. I've quite liked the Phoenix. The Phoenix has been good fun. There's Fire Covenant if we want to consider being Mardu later on. Nardu has just gone. Mardu is the Fire Covenant pick. Loran's good though. Loran's acceptable. I think I might just Fire Covenant. Because Fire Covenant is such a blowout when you get to cast it. And what does the staff look like here? Guide of Souls doesn't make tokens, does it? The staff is cool. There's also the Greaves for the Nardu that we passed. And then there's Robber and Intrepid Adversary. And there's Sentinel. Okay, this is interesting. I think I might just take the Adversary though. Like base white, and maybe we can just pick up a few Mardu lands on the way through. I think that sounds fine. Like here, not a lot for us, but there is a Blood Crypt. We could take Metamorph. I do like Metamorph. We could take a Braid. I do like a Braid. But I think I'm just going to take Blood Crypt. Enable those Lelias. Start looking at casting this Fire Covenant. Savitryne versus Adeline, that's really close. Adeline's really good. Savitryne does it all if we're trying to just go into the final packs, taking every best red, white, and black card. I think I'm going to do that because Mardu's a tiny bit more fun than mono white. You just got the threat of mana woes, right? Firebolt, premium-ish removal, not premium, but you know, it's cheap, it's efficient, it does the job. Generous Plunderer is a pretty bad mana dork, but it is a mana dork. Or there's Vaser the Bounding Spring. I think I'm just going to plunder. And I'm going to try and do it generously. There's some cards here. Unearth is probably quite good with Laelia, Adversary, Guide of Souls. Cauldra complete if you want to try and get a Stoneforge later. I think I'll Cauldra and hedge that way. I don't know what this card does. 2/2 haste. I'm going to take removal. The red removal looks to be flowing. The Phoenix came back around. I think that's very good for us. And then there's a card I'm probably not casting. But we've got the Fire Covenant on the splash. We've got a hedge towards a Stoneforge Mystic. And then we've got some good cheap red and white cards, which are aggressive. There's a Ragavan here. It's a Giver of Runes. And there's some other cards in the pack. But none of them are nearly as good as Mox Emerald. If we wheel one of those three cards in the middle there, Ragavan, Champion, Giver, that will be sick. I will accept a wheeled Steel Seraph, or maybe even a Xander's Lounge or Snuff Out if we pick them up. Snuff Out's unlikely to wheel, but you know. Let's take the power, and we're offered the power. And then let's take the Solitudes. Oh, do we? Yeah, I think Solitude's so much better than Sacred Foundry, and there's other plateaus around that we can take. There's also a Flame Slash, and a lot of the red removal wheeled just now, didn't it? So Solitude is exceptionally powerful, and yeah, Magda, Sacred Foundry, Flame Slash, if any one of those three come back, we'll be delighted. So let's take this nerd here. There's the Stoneforge. Do we want to put the Stoneforge out for a wheel and take an Oust, or a Selfless Spirit, or an Inspiring Vantage? I don't think so. Palantir's good, but I think we'll just take the Stoneforge, complete the package. I think we've seen Batterskull, I just don't know when. So it could be in this pack, it could be in the previous pack, but that looks like a nice little pickup for us. Polluted Delta gets both of those, so we'll pollute some Deltas. There is a Tinker there. Tinker for Cauldra. We'll consider it as it wheels around. This pack is bad. For us, at least. Elspeth's an acceptable card. It's not fantastic. Can't imagine we're going to end up with a blue source in our deck, really. Bitter Triumph is quite cool, but I think Prismatic Ending, if we are playing these off-color lands, is going to be versatile enough that I'm kind of into it. So we'll pend there. And then I'd like some more one-drop creatures. But I have got the acceleration to get into these guys quickly. So that's good. We've got the Fire Covenant, which is the world's biggest blowout. And we're on 3 black sources now, which is pretty tasty. Serra Paragon, Vindicate, Grim. I'm never a massive fan of the Paragon. I think the Vindicate's fine, but I don't think I'm going to want to be in that much black. So I'm just going to take a Grim. As I just said, I want more one-drop creatures. This card is an acceptable card that you can register, but I think Grim is such a higher quality. Because it's one of those cards that just controls the board, and in some matchup it just dominates the board, you know? So there's nothing here for us really. We've already got a sweeper. I'm just going to take Elspeth. If we can resolve an Elspeth against the control decks, they can sometimes really just struggle with the swarm of 1/1s that gradually appear in play. And then, yeah, looks like a decent little setup to a Mardu deck. I'm trying to keep this black splash as little as possible. Flage, 4th Erlingus, obviously up there alongside more power as the best things we can open going into pack 3. I don't remember when the battle score was, I'm sorry. So I'm not sure if that's around or whether that's a future pack. Like a previous thing. 9 creatures plus Elspeth plus Caldera. We could do a bit more on that front. Scrubland though. Scrubland. I like Revoker, I like Winds. I think Scrubland with your Delta Blood Crypt Mardu deck is going to be pretty fantastic. Well, there's a Preacher, and I've just picked up my 4th Black Source. So actually, oh, Death Greeter's Champion is very good, but am I trying to mid-range them a bit harder than Death Greeter's Champion? Oh yeah, I think I'm going to take the Preacher. I think that's a bit more chill. A bit more mid-rangey. Plays to the board a bit better. These are cards we're not using, so I'll take the roughly on colour Cycling Land. That Preacher versus Champion pick is quite close for me, I think. I don't think I'd argue if you took either. Croaxer might be a bridge too far. I'm going to take the Legionnaire over Croaxer. A removal spell that I'll try not to cast, and a Shoba Brawler that I'll try not to cast. And a Vengevine, which isn't for us today, but I'm sure you can find a video of me playing Vengevine somewhere else. So, what have we got? We've got some cards. Lurus is a powerful card, but this is not the deck for it. Shadow Spear I'm not taking here. Maybe if it comes back around. I think it's Fiery Confluence versus a consideration towards Satya. Because I've got Fiery Islet, I've got Polluted Delta. I could probably play an island and Satya people. But I think Fiery Confluence is going to dominate enough that we can just go out there and try and 6 people. And if we wheel, like, even Leyland's Binding, right, with my mana base at the moment, it's not going to be hard for it to be an Oblivion Ring with Flash. That's still perfectly acceptable. Bauble, Bat, Arena, Ocelot Pride. Oh, Tide Hollow as well. I'm going to take the Pride. The Pride is mad. The Pride with the Guide of Souls as well is really cracked, because then you don't even have to risk the Ocelot. So let's Windmill him. And now we've got some other cards, but I'm just going to take a Chrome Mox. Fast mana is powerful. Coming down a card with Chrome Mox isn't too much of an issue when your payoffs are like Lelias and Palace Jailers and Elspeths, right? You quickly get the card back off of these things. For the wheel, there's the Courtyard, or there's the Figure, or maybe even a Mana Tithe. If pressed, we could consider a Lizard. Let's take Chrome Mox. Lion Slash is good for the Reanimator matchup. Fable Passage looks a bit difficult because we're quite a low curve. I think the Skull Clamp is the place to be, right? We've got a Stoneforge, got a Pride of Souls, got an Elspeth, got a Preacher. We're going to spit out a few. So yeah, let's take that and see if any of these other things come around. Hide Claw probably not making it. Lion Slash might be acceptable. And then there's this. There's this Smuggler's Copter. Good grief. Copter versus Wasteland, and I think that's a fairly simple Copter. Copter is just like a colourless Fires of Yavimaya. Shadowy Backstreet, what do you do for me? You improve that Black Splash. Or there's a Sunbait Canyon, which is just a dual land. I'm currently lacking, but I'm going to take the Backstreet, I think. I think one more Scrubland for the road. And that is an exceptionally late gut. I accept. Cool. That's a very late into. Okay. An Glimmer Lens and Elite Spellbinder are great and stuff, but let's just into Smuggler's Copter. Let's move to the next game, you know. That's some mana sources. This is going to be one of those ones where it's how much of a land do I want to count these 3 as? One of the issues that's 2 colourless lands, right? And then there's a Chrome Mox. Right? Because like you could argue that this is I only need 2 cuts from the rest of it after those and play like 14 lands or some shit. Or we could play more lands and just plan on clamping our way through them. This Preacher might not make the final cut. This Baleful Mastery is almost certainly not making the final cut alongside 2 burn spells and a prismatic ending. What 2s have I got? Selfless Spirit, Adversary, Ocelot Pride, Guide of Souls, Grim Lavamancer. I think we could still be an acceptable Lurus deck. I'm not going to companion it, obviously, but we'll see where we get to. Tide Hollow versus Arena. Have I got anything worth hasting out for red? Not really. They've already got a haste, the red guys. So I'm actually just going to take the Tide Hollow. And now I'll take the Courtyard. Regret the absence of plateaus in my deck, but yeah. I've got one single red-white land. Oh well. Delta can get it. Delta can get both colours untapped as well, so it's not a disaster. The Delta's like a dual land. Blood Tithe, in you go. It's going to be a bit of a build here, because I need to make 6 or so cuts from this. Oh, that's one of them. The Stoneforge package is slender, but they're both massive payoffs. And unlikely to enable a Gush. Hired Claw, I'm pretty sure that's nonsense, isn't it? Yeah, it doesn't sound like a card we're going to put in our deck. Voldaren Epicure can be good, especially alongside the Harvester here. I like all of these. I'm not too fussed about the Legionnaire. I've got a bunch of 2s already. The Preacher looks really easy to cast. I like all of the big stuff as well, everything on the right hand side here. I pretty much like all of that, but we could consider cutting Elspeth. Yeah. But Elspeth Clamp is a bit of a baller. Elspeth Gut is pretty cool. How many cards is this? So if we're playing those lands, and I say Mana Crypt is a land as well. Maybe 2 colourless lands and a Chrome Mox we keep as a spell, something like that. I still mean to make a lot of cuts, right? Like 5. So what if we just completely come off the Black Splash main deck? That seems awful. I've got so many black lands. I want Fire Covenant in my deck. Tide Hollow Scholar might be tough. Selfless Spirit I'm not enamoured by, but I do have a Lurus in my deck, so that's actually kind of sick. Preacher and Blood Tithe, and then I just splash Fire Covenant and lure us off a Blood Crypt sort of thing. That might be a good place to start. Fiery Confluence is very powerful. Let's just go back to a mana value thing here so I can see what it's looking like. Man, Elspeth's like quite weak, but I do really like it in the gut slot. What else have I got that I can sack to gut? 1 blood token, some Pride of Souls tokens. The Phoenix isn't bad, is it? 26. 3 cuts. So if I got Phoenix, Epicure, although that seems so expendable. Galvanic Discharge with Guide of Souls seems like it's nice to have a secondary outlet. I can plunder generously and turn them into skeletons, so strange treasure chest. But so what about that? That's 24 with 2 colourless lands in Crypt and Emerald. Which is not very many lands, but it is also kind of 16 lands. It doesn't sound appealing. Maybe the Adversary can go. Maybe the Adversary could go. Maybe the Adversary could go. It's one of those things, right? This is kind of like a 2-drop. This is kind of like a 1-drop. This is kind of like a 0. But I've still got some 4s in there. What did I say? Maybe the adversary can go. Or the firebolt and I just have pending galvanic. Or maybe pending can go. Prismatic ending. I've got firebolt, discharge, reprieve, covenant, palace jailer, fiery confidence, solitude. That's a lot of removal, but this kills everything else. So maybe firebolt can go. I'm happy with discharge, grim, reprieve, ending, fire covenant, fiery confidence, palace jailer, solitude as creature removal. Maybe that's better. We drag these nerds back in, and then we add some basic lands. And that's saying 4-3-1. 6 black looks fine for a fiery covenant, right? A fire covenant. So maybe they don't need that, and I can just add another red. 15 lands, 3 things here, so like 18 lands in some respects. I think that's fine. And cutting the adversary, cutting the Porcelain Legionnaire makes my artifact count go nice and low for my Chrome Mox. I think that looks okay. How much red is this early? Because I have got Grim and Discharge, haven't I? 8 is tenuous. 9 if you've got a Chrome Mox and if you want to live your life like that. Which I think I do. I think I do want to live my life that way. 10 white on the flip side. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think we'll hop into a game and see how we do. Okay, round 1. We've lost a die roll. We're up against a phaser. And that's a pretty good start. Turn 1 Selfless Spirit, turn 2 attack you for 1 billion. I'm pretty on board with such a curve as these. By 1 billion I mean 6 cracking emerald. So see what the opponent's got for us here. See if they can beat the turn 2 attack for 6. Shadow Spear. They might be able to come back from the turn 2 attack for 6 if they've got something good over there. Let's just ship it and push damage. So 6 cards on the other side of the table. Praying for no removal spell on our Selfless Spirit, but the Gruul gamers are pretty good at killing your stuff typically because they've got all the red burn and all the green creatures sort of thing. So expecting a Minsk and Boo gamer over here. Our opponent is attempting to pay some costs. One thing to note here is they can let my Selfless Spirit resolve and then pay the 1. If they do happen to have a sweeper, and they're lining up for a next turn Minsk and Boo, I do not care. I am sending Gut into battle. And now I'm going to send the Selfless Spirit in and send away this Mox Emerald, which I believe it's done its job at this point. So we'll just bash them. They've got 4 cards in hand, and the Gruul decks are pretty good at hanging. I think this Solitude is on pitch cast, but I kind of want to deploy this Stoneforge Mystic. So I could go and get a Skull Clamp later, or next turn. I can get Stoneforge, deploy Skull Clamp, and our opponent thinks it's all done then, and they don't know about the Cauldron that's going to battle them the next turn. So it's nice that Stoneforge +1 is going to mask their impending doom. But that's if we, survive 2 turn cycles. We're obviously on the front foot as it stands. But this is just quite an interesting interaction that our opponent has to see. So they can remove our Indestructible, should it come up. So turn. Oh, Arena of Glory untapped is quite the power play. One of those things though that most of the green and red 4s do actually have haste already. Like Vengevine, Questing Beast, Ubermold Oddity, and then up to the 5s, the Glory Bangers and Gold Bands. Headliner Scarlet's got haste. Yeah, I wonder if they've They don't look like they're exerting, or they look like they're trying to exert, maybe. Maybe it's an interface thing. But yeah, I'd be surprised if this gets exerted, because if they're just casting a 4 or 5 drop, then a lot of them are hasty already. To the point that I actually can't think of one that's not. Okay, so just a mystic for now, just an elf. Cheeky elf. And then the exert. Oh no, and then a thing, a shadow spear. And then a generous plunderer? Generous plunderer. So, what do we think? Is there any universe where I can just turn my... Is there any universe where I can just turn my Skull Clamp into a 4-1 immediately? I don't think so. So I think we'll just attack for 6 and do no sacrificing. They may double block and we may be trading off our token here. But the thing is yeah, so they both block. I think I'd rather kill the Caryatid because I've got better ways of killing the elf later. So opponent takes some damage. The thing is here, right, is I can play Stoneforge Mystic. I can then cast Skull Clamp. And next turn I can put Kaldra into play and sacrifice Stoneforge. And that will make a 5-5 and a 4-1 kind of bashing hard at that point. And they're back onto 4 mana. Maybe they can get to 5 this turn. Glory Banger would be annoying, Glorybringer. The Glorybringer I can just make kill the Selfless Spirit. So the hit for 9, 10, 11 is probably strong. Plus their 2, but the elf might be tapped. Yeah. It's one of those ones where it could go either way. It depends on what they cast, obviously, as with all games. But we're definitely on the front foot, right? They have got the life linking thing. There's definitely cards in their colours that can do a good job of drawing them back into this game and turning a corner back the other way. Looks like we've got some costs being paid. And that's an Inti not hasted, I believe. So I think it should have popped up here. So yeah, Summoning Sick Inti. And nothing else. Okay then. Oh, in comes the Mystic. They pump the Mystic. They gain some life. They discard a card. Sick. I think that's actually really good for us. They discard a Stomping Ground. This guy gets bigger. They are going to go back up to 17. They've got Seething Song. Don't know how that got there, but that's fine. It's not our problem. This Shadow Spear is doing a little number on us, isn't it? They're at 17 and I've attacked them for what, 10? I don't know. Wild shit. So let's get kind of busy then, I guess. Play. Let's activate Stoneforge. Let's put Kaldra into play. Let's suit up Gut, I believe. Oh no, we can suit up this Stoneforge actually. And move to combat. Attack with all of these. I think I'm happy to turn Gut into... I'm happy to trade Gut for Inti. That's what I'm saying. Because Gut's going to trade Stoneforge Mystic for 2 cards and a 4-1. Now we've got a blue card there. Oh, not a blue card. A white card there. If we need it. I think this trade is fine. I think I'm fine with that. Opponent falls to 6. I'm just going to play the planes and equip the dude. That might actually be a really weak equip, because they might actually have something like pay the 1 flame flash your Kaldra token. That might actually be really bad. But to be frank, the rest of our board looks fantastic. Especially with an overrun effect in hand if we want one. We can also Chrome Mox the Plunderer to play a Solitude next turn. So we've still got options. We're not allowed to use them though because they're dead. So, game 2. I think maybe I want a Firebolt if they're an Elvish Mystic deck. And this sideboard is quite proactive, right? I've got sideboard options. Depending on what our opponent's doing, there's 7 cards up here, no, 8 cards up here, which are all options. Like there's additional removal in these guys here. There's some more mid-rangey threats if we come up against the blue cards, and then there's some more aggro stuff if we come up against something where yeah, no, maybe this isn't really an option. I can't imagine a universe where Hide Claw's what we want. Anyway, 41 cards because I bought one of them in. I can't remember what that was. Oh yeah, the Firebolt. Maybe this is a world where something like Intrepid Adversary is not actually that good, or Generous Plunderer is not actually that good, where the ground's kind of swarming. I think the Plunderer can go. I'm just going to submit this. There's also the idea of like they're playing green cards, so maybe the Phoenix to take to the skies is very good. I think just a dash more removal. We've also got the Fire Covenant, which if we draw that against the green decks is just going to, provided we've got the life points to go with it, it's just going to body them so hard, you know. Oh, this hand is the nut high and the nut low. Turn 2 Luris, turn 5 Cauldron Complete. I think we've kind of got to ship it. Because it's one of these things, right? If I draw spells for the rest of the game, I win and it's fine. If at the moment I draw a land, I die. I'm going to ship that back. Arguably worse. I don't think I can keep this either. Okay, so we'll go to 5. That's fine. We're on the draw. So we'll get rid of Cauldron. I think we'll get rid of Chrome Mox. I think we've got enough card disadvantage for one day here. And then there's Guide of Souls into Adversary, or Adversary into Guide of Souls. Or neither. I think I'll just Guide the Souls. Don't have to deploy Mana Crypt until we need to, sort of thing. The Plains will be a great draw next turn, because then we can pump the Adversary. And get in for 2. But I won't argue at this point. If we can get a functional 5-card draw, that would be great. So I think we've got one. Deploy a threat this turn. Reprieve your spell in the future. Mox Emerald is not what we wanted to see from the opponent, really. Into Deathgreeter's Champion. I feel like that's beatable. I'm going to gain a bunch of life here, so it's kind of only got single strike. I'm going to deploy the Crypt. Play the Adversary. And we'll pay that. So this guy's now a 2/3. We can't get through there, but we've got an energy, we've got a life point, we've got a red source for our burn spell whenever we draw it. We've got a reprieve for one of their plays to time walk them. And the moment this guy's tapped, I start getting my life back. Well, I mean, this game's already taken my life away, but that's a different story for a different time. But then again, we're on to the turn where the Gruul deck has 4 mana. And that's their big payoff turn, right? Their 4 mana turn, that's what they're trying to bridge to most of the time. Flame Slash my Adversary, that's pretty annoying. Okay, can't block, take 6. Tarmogoyf, cute. Mana Crypt, we win. Skull Clamp, possibly also win. So let's clamp up the guide, see if that stops blocks, see if that stops attacks. I will roll this out because I've got the instant speed burn spell, haven't I? The energy one as well. And I will be snapping this off. I need to get back into the game. They've got 4 cards and a better board. So we're really hoping here for a tap out turn, chump the Death Greeter, draw 2 cards, draw 3 cards, Ancestral and Time Walk turn sort of thing. Because we've just lost so much momentum for that Multi 5. It's the same as last time, right? There's last game just the other way around. There was draws that they had all game long that you could envision in their colours that would turn the game around. And we've got that same thing here. We're behind, they're ahead. Inti, I think I'd like them to have the land actually. Like I think I want to force them to have it because they didn't have it last turn. I'm holding up the mountain to draw the Galvanic Discharge. Did not. They didn't have a red source last turn, so I think I'll tax that. I'll tap red source, get wrecked. And they're paying some costs here. No, nothing going on. I think I'll block the Death Greeter. Oh, yeah. I think I'll block the Death Greeter and grab my cards. Fire Covenant could be a cracking draw if we can find the black source. Tails, please. I lose. Wrecked. That's the discharge. So let's play Lurrus. Let's clamp Lurrus. Do I want to trade off Lurrus or do I want to try and get into another turn with Lurrus? What am I taking next turn? 3. So I think I Skull Clamp Lurrus and kill their guy. And play my mountain. And then this now looks like it's just a lined up trade. And if they take it, then great. And if they don't, then I get to replay an adversary and bash for a big Lurrus amount of lifelink. So they might not want to make this trade, or they do want to push it. And either way, I'm going to get card advantage out of this Lurrus at this point. The Skull Clamp's going to draw me 2, or the adversary is going to come back. We kind of want as much lifelink as possible so that this Fire Covenant can just pummel them in the next turn or 2. Because they've got 4 cards. We want them to deploy them without exerting this arena. Pest Infestation. That's problematic. X equals 1. Okay. So we're then going to take 3 or 4. And take 4, going up to 5. Then we Crypt Flip into 2. We pray not to get burst lightninged. Oh god, they're just getting ham. Okay. That's fine. So Lurrus is dead. We're going down to 2. Furies are so annoying. Fire Covenant likely dead at this point. Polluted Delta extremely dead. I drew the black source. Cool. Next game. Yeah. As we said, there was ways we could turn a corner there, but they just had enough there to push it home, right? So good on them. Congrats, GG's, blah blah. Do I want to revisit any of this? I don't think so. Actually, this could be good. Maybe over the adversary. So that's just kind of like a stone wall, right, for all their nonsense. Right, okay, so where do we stand on pitch my Stone Forge, play a Smuggler's Copter, or pitch my Guide Assault? I think turn 1 Smuggler's Copter, not Smuggler's Copter, turn 1 Stone Forge looks a bit good, doesn't it? Let's try that. Turn 1 Stone Forge or turn 1 Smuggler's Copter? I don't know actually. Or turn 1 Guide of Souls, turn 1 Skull Clamp. So I can cast all of my cards on turn 1. It's not all of them at the same time, right? I can cast any of them that I want to. It's just what's better. Stoneforge Mystic gets immediately killed by Cauldron Complete. Not Cauldron Complete, Fury, Flame Slash, Dismember, anything. It just dies. And then we just have a 7-drop in our hand and it's really bad. So I think because of that, I'm going to do something else. I'm going to go Chrome Mox, and I think I'm going to actually exile the Stoneforge Mystic. Or the Guide of Souls. I don't know which of these two I'm exiling. I'm playing the Smuggler's Copter this turn. So I think Guide of Souls goes. Then we play a Mountain, then we play a Copter. And then next turn we can play Stoneforge, Crew, Copter, Tutor, Cauldron, play Skull Clamp. That's all of our cards. We'll end our turn with a Cauldron Complete in play in our hand. Oh, Lelia's attractive as well, isn't she? We'll slow roll Lelia till next turn. I can also just consider discarding the Cauldron, to be honest with you. Let's see what we draw. Yes, I would like to draw a card. Palace Jailer. I'm actually kind of tempted to discard the Cauldron. Is that insane? I just feel like the Stoneforge is going to die. I don't know if that's good or not. I'm going to discard the Cauldron Complete. Feel free to criticize. But this way I just get to cast them all. Look at it. I'm just casting all my cards. And playing around the fact that they can just kill my Stoneforge at a moment's notice. That might be heinous, but, you know, I just need a white source off of Lelia or Copter, and my Palace Jailer's online. So they've got 8 cards and a Stomping Ground. I expect to see more from them. But we've got 6 pieces of material in play. Urza Saga. Urza Saga into the slowest Inti ever. Preacher of the Schism's a pretty easy discard here. I'm going to just Lelia them. And we'll work out lands later. Crew up Berlin, and then... Is there any technically correct order here? I don't think so. Let's... Oh no, yeah. The Lelia should resolve first. Let's discard this guy. Grab a reprieve, okay. So nothing good for us there. No land drop for us this turn. We do have the pitch cast. Our opponent's going to start dying quickly. But then they're going to start looking at more cards as well, aren't they? Saga's going to start ticking up into the range where they can make tokens. Oh no. They haven't missed a land drop yet. They're just slow rolling it for the Inti attack. I think I'll let them have the Inti attack because Palace Jailers are so cracked that if I can draw white land into random land, then this curve of Jailer into Solitude should probably assist in closing out a game. This is quite a tough one though, this attack here. I know you're attacking me and you're getting your card and stuff, but you're just leaving behind a 1/1 token. That doesn't sound like a winning play, does it? Unless you're already holding the Fury. Yeah, you can go to combat, sir. That's fine. In comes Inti. Inti discards Mountain. Exile zone is a mountain. Cool. So 1-for-1, no real advantage gained there from the Inti. It's not like they drew a massive spell. I'm expecting them to have, like, what's its face? Pest Infestation here is like their best card in this spot. That's so much more impactful than a 1-1 construct. Kind of kills my Palace Jailer dead, doesn't it? Pest Infestation. Or maybe not really. Oh, Hex Drinker, yeah, that's fine. You're going to have other plays, aren't you? Yeah, Magda, cool. Fiery Confluence. Fiery Confluence could just close this game off pretty quickly, actually. So let's go, because any untapped land, it looks insane. So I want Lelia to resolve first, really, because then I've got more information on my discard. So I think I did it wrong last turn. Shadowy Backstreet is not an untapped land, that's fine. I would like to loot. Mox Emerald is an untapped land. I'm not feeling optimistic about my Palace Jailer being good into the amount of creatures that this guy can plop into play. So I think I'll just discard the Jailer. I don't think you can really take 7 here. Oh, I think they can. Okay, well. Good on you, I guess. Let's 6 them. Yeah. Aggressive no block. I've got 2 red sources. I've drawn 87 cards. I think you have to come up with a chump there, or like the double block's good, isn't it? You've got a trade. You've got Inti to find Pest Infestation, and that just locks it up. Kill my Smuggler's Copter, kill my Skull Clamp. Oh well. See you for round 2. Okay, round 2, we're up against Dan Exter. What do we think? Discuss your thoughts and feelings. I don't like it. I truly do not like it. But can I mulligan? Is this like... Have I managed to draft like the worst Mana Crypt deck ever? Right, I'm going to ship it. This is brilliant. Let's drop red. See, I could have had a Mana Crypt, but instead I've got a tap land. Who's winning here? Truly me. So I try, and probably the least threatening start in all of Cube. But now I get to play Smuggler's Copter. I like Copter. I don't know ever which way around to do these two, but the fact that the Copter gives the Stoneforge quasi-haste, I think makes a bit more sense. I know it's slower to get the Cauldron into play, but look at this. You show them the Cauldron and then they're just like completely gaming. Mountain. Let's play Mount. Yeah, no, I need to develop lands. Let's play this. I'm expecting it to get countered, to be honest with you. Oh no. I think I'm just going to get Skull Clamp. Or I could get Cauldron and discard Cauldron to play around removal again. Skull Clamp into Elspeth seems very good. So let's crew up the Copter. And Slay. And I'm probably interested in discarding Reprieve here. Oh, they've got some costs. Fairy Mastermind. Do I want to decline here? I don't know. Giving them a card's not very good, is it? Giving them a card is not very good, but I do need a land to land my Elspeth. Let me discard Reprieve. I'm not a fan. Not a fan of how this has panned out, to be honest with you. Maybe I could have discarded the back streaks, it's so bad. Okay. Opponent's turn. A swamp. And Mastermind gets in. And they've got a Leovold. Okay then. So let's play our Shadowy Backstreet. I'm probably interested in more removal, I think. And let's end Leovold's existence, giving them yet another card. And then let's crew and attack. And I don't think I'll loot, so I'm quite happy with all of the cards I've got access to at the moment, the top of my deck and the 2 in hand. And that's going to decline them a draw as well. So just damage for now. Opponent falls to 14. They're kind of behind on board. We've got the Fiery Confluence to close out a game that looks like they're clawing themselves back into. And we've also got the Elspeth to kind of try and push ourselves over the top with. Lava Spur Boots with 1 floating. So they've got a 3-1. And a Ward 1 3-1. Oh, and they look like they're trying to race us. I'm going to crew the dude. And I'm just going to attack. And I don't think I'm going to loot again. Nope. They take 3. And I will equip the Skull Clamp. We'll pass the turn. We'll try and use this Galvanic Discharge to get a permission spell out of them or something, tax their mana somehow. Here we need to do the discharge pre-blocks so that they can't ninjutsu in response. I'll pay the 1. And I get to store 2 energy. Okay, so that just got through. They've got Kaito, which will draw them a card. So maybe that was a reason to do it pre-combat or like at the beginning of combat sort of thing. My opponent's got so many cards, and that's why I've been like kind of reserved to put these 4 mana cards on the stack. They've never cast these dorks here. They've never tapped these 2 here. But now we can crew. And I don't think I want to put mana into Skull Clamping. I will loot. I'll discard a Chrome Mox. Opponent will take 3. And then we'll cast Elspeth. I think Elspeth is the one that's fine to get countered. If it doesn't get countered, then my Skull Clamp goes off. So yeah, they've got something. Please don't be drain. It's always drain. It's never not been drain. Why wouldn't they have a drain? But then drain also encourages them to tap a bunch of mana, so then Fiery Confluence just kills them. Let's see if that's true. Time Warp. Gross. Man, Mana Drain. I always just run headfirst into Mana Drain. I think I have to do something there. So I need to tax the counter spell to make space for the Fiery Confluence. But when the counter spell is Mana Drain, and it's been like the most face-up counter spell the whole game, right? That's why I've played like a bit of a knob and like tried to get it out of their hand with Galvanic Discharge and not cast my 4-drops when I have 4 mana, sort of thing. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe I'm supposed to just lean into it then. But the swing is so big, so I'd rather just slowly pull ahead so that they don't. So hopefully we're in a position that when they get their counter spell off, they don't have the most time to maximize it. Like the time they buy, hope that time's reduced. But Mana Drain into Time Warp is a lot of mana that they've just produced, right? That's pretty tough for us to come back from. They've got 5 cards. They've got access to 3 more with Kaito across 2 turns. So yeah, it looks like the opponent's gone a little bit into the tank though. But the problem with that is that it's just like, how do I spend my mana most effectively? And the hope is that they just don't have anything to do. The dream is that they've got 5 lands and then they draw 3 more. Doesn't look likely. And that Mastermind plays a bit annoying. I wish I'd done it at the beginning of combat. I thought about Fallen Shinobi, I just didn't think about the raid on Kaito. So, yeah. Okay, opponent just hit us with a Time Twister. Sorry, I paused it because they were taking so many years to play. So they've hit us with the Twist. They've got 2 mana left over. They've got a Seal for next turn. Holy hell. That's pretty tough. Pretty tough to come back from. And they've still got a turn on the stack. Right. So they go down to 6. They cast a Shadow Spear. So they can suit up a token pretty good here with Kaito. Oh, but they're going to draw a card and loot something around. So if they do a fatty, that's an Echo, okay, sure. Do you have like a Whole Breacher in your hand or something? So Shieldred is a kill from here. Shieldred plus Echo. They've got the mana for it off of a land. This Whole Breacher into Echo is acceptable. They're gonna get a billion mana. Chrome Mox, yeah, bro, you got it. But I still get a draw step and an attack for 3. So not really in a concedable position just yet because we need them to draw something. And you do have a fizzle rate here with this sort of shit. Obviously, the additional 7 mana is probably pretty good for them here. I wonder if just passing the turn was really better. Tamiyo is going to block. They've still got 8 mana untapped. Interesting that we're going through treasures before we go through Zagoth Triumph. That's just got to be a 7 mana play, right? This is just a Traxer, or Time Spiral, sure. Opponent's got lots of stuff. Opponent's got all the wheels. How do we sideboard against this then? What have we got? We've got Baleful Mastery. we've got Tide Hollow Scholar, and we've got Firebolt. Firebolt's not very good because it's a sorcery, but we're probably going to bring in those instant speed threats. Right, we're not winning this. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so from what we saw, I think I want the Tide Hollow Scholar, and I think I want the Baleful Mastery, because they're instant speed answers to the Hull Breacher. Well, one of them is. And then what else do we want? We could probably do with Reprieve. Skull Clamp looks like it would get annoying if they breached it, but I don't know if I can play and live my life like that. I'm not massively interested in this Cauldron. Maybe Adversary and Plunderer can go. Well, the Plunderer into a post Hull Breacher world is very funny. Palace Jailer's great. Prismatic Ending will kill Kaito. Maybe just Elspeth. Okay, so game 2, we're on the play, and I think we're keeping. What do I want to throw under the bus? Selfless Spirit or the Gut? I think the Selfless Spirit, and then we can Shadowy Backstreet for a red source. And once again, we'll get the Skull Clamp in. It'll look like we just have Skull Clamp in our deck. And next turn we'll Cauldron them. Unless they, of course, push our guy or something. But Island, Shadow Spear, fine. So Lelia, let's play Cauldron. Oh no, that's not how we play. And this is quite threatening. So we'll get our beats in for 5, and then we'll see if we can find ourselves a red source off this back street. I didn't play my land, fucking fuck. I didn't realise I clicked through combat, that's annoying. Never mind. We'll see what we can work with. Sorry, my sideboard's still there. Oh no, don't tinker me, bro. Okay, that's fine. Please be a red source. Yay! Right, so Daze is punishing. We got lucky. Should have played my land. Just gonna send the Cauldron. Just gonna send the Stoneforge at them. With Gut, I mean. I still need the Chrome Mox. Next turn, once we've deployed Lelia, we can get rid of the Chrome Mox. Opponent's at 4 with an Ancient Tomb in play. I wish them luck. Pretty hard to go wheeling from here. That said, you know, Hull Breacher, cast my LED, Echo You, essentially all there. So that's more like it, isn't it? If we could play our cards correctly, that would also help, but I don't know how I feel about these two white guys over here, these white cards. They are quick and aggressive, but they're not interactive with what they're doing. That's my issue. Wouldn't be surprised if you told me this is better, just cheaper. It doesn't look like it's the most Palace Jailer matchup, does it? But is it mad? Because I can play turn 2, I can play turn 1 Palace Jailers, you know? I think I'm going to swap Adversary and Lurrus around. It's not great card advantage, but I don't think the fact that I can gain a card a turn from turn 4 is what this matchup's about. I think this hand is what this matchup's about, so I think I'm going to ship this away and try and get something more proactive. I've got 3 Moxen in my deck, right? I don't need cards, I need them to die. This is also a train wreck, but I think 5 is the cap. Just drop the Savai Triumph for now. They're on the play. I mean, that first hand was like acceptably playable, I think, wasn't it? I can't remember actually. What was it? 5 lands and a Grim Lavamancer? Yeah, no, that's not very good. So let's play Guide of Souls. And we can get untapped every colour with Polluted Delta. This hand's really weak. This hand's really weak. But they're just playing tap lands for now, so we might be able to get there in some way. Just a 2-drop here would be a delight. If we don't get the 2-drop, I'll probably just play the Delta. And then if they play a card that's threatening, we can discharge it later. And if not, we can fetch the backstreet. Yep, so we'll play that idea. So I've got red available. I need to fetch black, and that's automatically going to happen anyway through the fetch land. It has to get black. So we've got Scrubland and Blood Crypt. Blood Crypt if we feel like we need to discharge something right here and right now. If not, we can just go Delta, Blood Delta, Backstreet, play a mountain next turn. So opponent's got some cards, and it's a Leovold. I think that's absolutely fine. If they go LED Echo, obviously we discharge in response, but it doesn't look like that's the play. So we get to Backstreet and get some selection on the go. Yep, Backstreet me. Mana Crypt. Doesn't look like the spot for Mana Crypt, does it? Looks like I want some action rather than more ramp. Not what I dreamed of. Let's discharge this nerd then. They get a card. We don't. We attack for 1. This is not how the draw turned out we wanted, but I was hoping for something a bit more proactive. I pay any amount of energy. All of it, please, boss. And then we need to not get bodied this turn, and we can play a Fiery Islet with the intention to cycle. But now we're getting into the sort of part of a game where they can just sit behind a mana drain and kind of sort us out that way. Tamiyo is pretty good. Yeah, Tamiyo and pass. Yeah, that's annoying. So 5 cards over there. Let's just play the Islet, but not do anything with it. Because we need to play around Hole Breacher, right? A Hole Breacher here into untap wheel is kind of the dream for them. They don't have anything, apparently. That's what they're trying to make us believe. I'm not cracking the Islet into an untapped Hole Breacher here. I'll wait. I'm fine to wait as well. My hand's awful. They've got a Tamiyo attack coming in. They've got 2 mana to draw a card and play a Hole Breacher. They've also got Hole Breacher Drain You, right? So let's play Scrubland. I'm not going to attack. I'm just going to chill out. I'm more than happy here. So this is a Fairy Mastermind. And a Clue token. I think that's fine. They've got a lot of cards, but we've got to try and leverage this Covenant as big as we can. Urza's Saga's pretty poor for us. That's the Chrome Host. And that's all of that. I think right here I'm actually going to go for this. Which is a lot of damage to us. But if this sticks, then if this doesn't stick, then the mana drain is kind of weak. Because we're being annoying when we're being annoying at a point when their mana drain's bad. Now we'll crack the Islet, because if they Hole Breach for it, we get to Palace Jailer the Hole Breacher. Yeah, perfect. how we drew it up, kind of. This is fine, though, as an exchange. Because then they're running their Hull Breacher into my untapped mana. It's just, are they backing out of it here? They've got one land left to tap to play the Hull Breacher. And then we Palace Jailer them. Their Hull Breacher's gone. They're going to get an energy and a life point and start drawing cards. And that's 2 of their hate pieces that we've gone through, and then we need to start considering how we contest a Saga. One of the big problems with the Saga is we know it gets Shadow Spear, and that's a problem for another day. To be honest. And like, if they... Sorry about the sirens. If they untap these lands and pass, it's like the world's most telegraphed Hull Breacher, right? I feel like you've committed to it here. You can't chill out this much, and I don't think you can tank this hard on casting a Hull Breacher into a card draw and take it back. Like, I know you've got it. I can't do anything about it. But then I will attack. If they untap, I will then attack with the Guide of Souls in case they try to snipe it that way. I still have my mana untapped, that sort of thing. It's just how relevant is a treasure token. But it's a treasure token and a land, right? It's a pretty big swing. But this is a massive tank from the opponent. And I feel like we've done a decent job here of being annoying whilst having a fairly weak draw. They didn't respond to the Fire Covenants. They don't have any tokens over there. The Saga's going to annoy us when it gets the Shadow Spear. So I guess we've got to draw Fire Covenant and get that around the mana drain somehow. Especially before anything kills us. League opponents are so slow. Okay, opponent has cast the Hull Breacher after a big 5-minuter there. That was quite the tank. Hull Breacher's in play. Okay, Solitude does a good number on Saga tokens. So let's pray for no Force of Will here. That would be the not low outcome for us. I think I still want a Palace Jailer. I want to get cards flowing, right? I've already used my instant speed disruption. I want to draw another white card. Oh, lots of triggers. So we get the Hull Breacher. And I think I don't attack. Because we need to consider the outcome of Time Warp make a token, right? Time Warp make a token is very annoying. We do the white card, so maybe attack is actually better in that spot, but hey ho, so it goes. Right, Saga ticks up to 2. Creeping Tar Pit makes the Monarchy an absolute fucking joke. Generous Plunderer. So let's go Plunder a Fool. And this is quite scary, I think. And now they're going to get a lot of tokens. I don't think I can play the adversary. Yeah, you've got a token. That's cool, bro. Reprieve is quite a cool draw. Actually. Actually quite a cool one. They're going to make some stuff. They're going to go get a Shadow Spear. Then they have to equip a Shadow Spear. So that's 2 to attack, equip, right? So Reprieve counters Drain on Solitude. Okay, it's looking potentially up for the home team. It's not amazing, but it's certainly an existence for us. And we can even consider letting them take the monarchy for a moment and then actually just solitude the Hull Breacher. They're going to wake up the Tar Pit. Okay, so we take 7 doing this. Then I get life back off the Solitude. I go to 6. How good is that? Versus just evoke Solitude. Kill your Tar Pit, keep the monarchy. Evoke Solitude, get rid of Reprieve, pump the squad. Also an appealing consideration. Kill this, gain the life points. I am your king. I will not let you dispute that. There we go. So that kind of deals with that for the moment. Don't time walk, don't time walk, don't time walk. Fimmage. Intriguing. Fimmage the Palace Jailer. A devastating series of events. Fine. Fimmage the Palace Jailer, eat one of my guys, maybe the Plunderer. No, the Guide of Souls, interesting, okay. They got a Hull Breacher back. Yes, that makes sense. They draw a card. We're going to say yes to this. I'd love a treasure. They get a tapped treasure. I can't draw off of that. It's annoying that it's a tapped land. Let's play an adversary and fully pump an adversary, I guess. Done. Adversary's a 5/3. My guys are thick. One of them's menacing. Which means they have to offer up the Hull Breacher or the Palace Jailer. This attack might be awful. But I think I've just got to push. Because it's not getting better for us, is it? I've just pumped their tokens actually, so maybe that was loose. I didn't think about the fact that I'm giving them a treasure. I mean, the Palace Jailer doesn't do anything, it's just a Fimmage. Cool. Let's go get wheeled. Snuff out my adversary, okay. Cool story. We'll see you for round 3. Okay, round 3 up against Suicon. And we've got a nice little mono white start, so let's keep this hand. I think we just go... I think we just go Plains Guide of Souls. Unsure when I'm casting this, or playing the shadowy Backstreet. So I play a 1-drop next turn, that would be nice. Just shadowy Backstreet, ending your 1-drop. That last match was a bit annoying. I possibly could have played differently, but I needed Fiery Covenant at some point soon. But hey, that's ended. So let's go here. Concealed Courtyard's a nice draw. Let's play that one. And attack. Now I've got Reprieve up into Lurrus. I know my Lurrus isn't particularly good, but it's a card I will cast on turn 3. More than likely. Or we can just continue to hold up Reprieve. We've got an Ancestral. Do I want to Reprieve that? It eats their mana next turn. They can have their cards now. We can Reprieve their turn 2 play, and then they'll still have to go to discards. So they're on 10 cards in hand. They're going to get a land drop, puts them to 9. And then if we Reprieve their spell, then they're discarding 2. Seems pretty cool. Pentad Prism, yeah, no, surely not. Surely not. Nice. And then they get to clean up and do discard 2. That's kind of minimised the Ancestral quite a lot, really. It's just a draw 3, discard 2. Obviously a perfectly acceptable card for 1 mana. Obviously very good. However, damage mitigated, I would say. And now they're not ramping this turn. If they play the Pentad Prism and like a tap land next turn, then we can interact with that with the Prismatic Ending. We'll just play Lurrus. It's not insane, it's not great. It's just a 3/2 with lifelink at the moment, but we do start to build up the energy. There's a consideration there that we can backstreet to look for a red source for Lelia next turn, but I'm pretty happy with them just playing a tap Watery Grave or Undercity or something. And a Pentad Prism, we're ending the Pentad Prism, we have a whole nice exchange, and I'm ahead on the tempo damage plan whilst interacting with their mana development. Looks like we're just going to die instead. So Ritual, Baleful Mastery, I get a card. Barrogoyf, I need a red source and I need it kinda now. Yeah, that'll do. That will have to do. And then we get to Backstreet. And see if we can hit a playable spell. Straight to the bin. In we go. For the little dink here. Annoying way to have to fix red, but you can't let that Barrogoyf hit you. What was that? It was a 4/5 or something. This draws them a card and gains them a bunch of life. We've had some fairly anemic draws. Pentad Prism comes in. So they're trying to like ramp into big plays, but their big plays so far have also been quite anemic. I've just had a really bad draw. Thoughtseize me take my Cauldron. Sure. I know I was close to Cauldron, like a Mana Crypt away, but we're looking to just get some good spells here. Inti is a cracker, especially with this Plains in hand. Can we get away with it? We can there. They might have a kill spell. They've got 2 cards left in hand. And let's send the Guide of Souls in there to do our dirty work. Discard of Plains. Please leave me alone, Inti. You've got too many triggers. Mountain. Oh, we can still play that, and it's still a second red source for something like Fire Covenant. It's just what do they have with 2 cards and 6 or so mana? 3 cards post draw step. We are completely hellbent, reliant on our Inti triggers. They've got nothing. Do I want to be out there discarding Smuggler's Copters? Not really. Not really at all. It's just attack for 4. They're representing one of the bigger cryptic commands I've seen in a while. Bounce my Inti, draw 2, sure. So we can just bash them for 2 and play both our cards, I think. They take 2, they go to 11. There's some good synergies between Inti and Copter. And Guide of Souls as well, I guess. I mean, Guide of Souls just having the energy is what I meant there. So opponents had another draw 2 there, but they have expended all of their Pentad Prism mana. So they kind of punted one of them away immediately with the Thoughtseize. But 5 cards plays the battlefield. It's not a great spot for us, is it? But the Smuggler's Copter being sweeper proof is pretty nice. Inti can crew Copter, which can discard a card, which can then draw a card and discard a card, and we just kind of burn through our deck quite quickly. So we might be able to recover. And they've got a Saheeli. Okay then. We can fly and trample through Saheeli tokens, so I'm not massively concerned about that off from the off. But it does depend what the follow-up is, right? They've struggled to find lands. They've already used a Dark Ritual to like double spell and make 2 tokens quite quickly. So that's good. So it's hard to have much of a payoff from basic Swamp in this position. Let's see if they've got anything. Let's just quickly double check on Inti. Whenever you discard a card, exiles off card your library. So, yeah, no. Nothing to do with just crewing the Copter. So the turn comes back. They can have 1 mana removal, Dismember, Fatal Push, all this stuff. Fatal Push doesn't really make sense. That should have been fired off already. Ocelot Pride. That's going to be better than anything I can find elsewhere, because the Guide of Souls is going to make a token on its own. Just from this trigger. I'm going to get a bunch of tokens, and probably enough tokens to outmuscle the Saheeli even. So let's get in. How much is this? 8, 9, 10? I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of damage. Oh, Dismember. Okay. Dismember kills Inti, maybe? Or the Copter. That's a lot of damage to yourself as well. That's more than I was dealing before. So you get a 7. Killing the Guide of Souls. Pretty mad. So now I can attack you. So I don't get to the discard off of the Inti, but I do get the discard off of the Smuggler's Copter, which triggers the Inti. So we will loot here, discard the Plunderer. Inti triggers, I get to exile the top card of my deck, so it's like drawing a card through a card. Skull Clamp's quite cool. Three cards for the opponent, and a block on Inti. So do I want to trade Inti for 2 here? I think so, and that's because I play Fire Covenant, right? Fire Covenant, although not a great draw here. I think I will trade into for 2, because I'm pretty pleased with my board state as it is. Mana Crypt, Fiery Islet. Let's cycle Fiery Islet then, because Mana Crypt is actually the mana for Fire Covenant, and that's nothing. So let's call that a day there, and make 2 tokens. Ta-da! 2 tokens into Skull Clamp as well. Opponent definitely up against it, opponent dead. Okay. So we just managed to grind them out, but their deck looks very powerful. I think I'm interested in these 2 cards again, because Barrigoy is a massive problem for us. I might actually come off the Reprieve. No. I come off the Plunderer. And something else. Yeah, no, the Reprieve. Reprieve's great and all, but the way these games have been playing out, the Reprieves just seemed a bit annoying. Once again, a Mana Crypt mulligan. Skull Clamp, Discharge. Discharge we can't cast. Copter into thingy. So let's keep this, and I am just going to bottom the Discharge, I think. Pretty slow, pretty dirtily, but acceptable. Ooh, less acceptable into Soul Ring. Into Manifold Key, into more. Nope. So, Shadowy Backstreet, I think. I will discard the Grim. I've not got the mana to cast it. I want to find some white threats, because I don't want to be pitching this Palace Jailer all over the place. Island go? No. Dark Ritual. 5 mana. Kappa Cannoneer. Okay. We'll cast our spell. Kappa Cannoneer has Ward 4. Which is quite a high number of Ward. And now they've got Mystic Confluence up. And they're paying costs, which I don't think we can beat. I don't think we can beat costs at this point. Displace a Kitten. Any spell pumps the Kappa Cannoneer. Sure. Guide of Souls. Guide me further, Soul Man. Crew or block for Skull Clamp? Crew or block for Skull Clamp? Or try to block the Skull Clamp? I think trying to block the Skull Clamp is better. They need to draw a card that casts a spell here for the Kappa Cannoneer to get through. If the Kappa Cannoneer does get through, then next turn we can crew attack, find our 4th land, unfortunately pitch the Jailer, that sort of nonsense, and pay the ward cost here. Cauldron Complete just rotting and killing us here. But this is the sort of matchup where Cauldron is very good as well. So this comes in. I think I'm just going to draw 2 off my Guide of Souls. Block. Because I want to hit this land drop. Or, like this, find another white card I can pitch to Solitude. Mana Crypt's a cracker. Let's pitch cast. Let's play Mana Crypt. Good grief. 5 mana's annoying, but let's pitch cast Lurus. Solitude will exile the Kappa Cannoneer. Ward 4 will trigger. We will pay the ward cost, please. Yes. We will now evoke our Smuggler's Copter. Not evoke, oh, crew our Smuggler's Copter. Apparently my Smuggler's Copter is going to die in an incorrect sequence. And I think I will clamp the Copter here. Get in for 4. Opponents, so decks are quite big at the moment. 27 plays 29. I am going to loot with my Survitriome. I will discard a Concealed Courtyard. So Cannoneer dealt with. Displace a Kitten dealt with next turn. 1 card in hand for the opponent, 2 cards post draw step. So everything looks like it's coming up for us at the moment. 5 cards over there. Oh, 5 lands, I mean. Spy trying turning on red is pretty cool. Displace Kitten's going to get in for 2. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because whilst Palace Jailer's good and all, it depleting my deck size is a bit annoying. But I still think I want a Jailer. Jailer your Kitten, please. I am your king. I'm going to crew. I think I'm just going to discard this Fire Covenant. Depends on what I draw, obviously, but I've got a Mana Crypt. My opponent's already dealt me some damage. Yeah, Inti's better. And we should be able to just Cauldra through them, I think, as well, at some point. Let's crew the Jailer. Pray for no flash threats. That's a land for Cauldra complete. Another land for the opponent. 23 cards in my deck, so I don't think I'm crewing this turn. I think I'm just dealing damage, trying to decrease the number of cards I draw across this game. That's going to be pretty hard because 22, 21 there. Sheldok's going to be awake next turn during my attack set, which is kind of annoying. Living Weapon, you. Bash for the full 8, please. I take it. I love it. Monarchy goes off. Okay. Right, how do you play? They're going to have a Sheldok Isle during my combat step, which means they can have Mystic Confluence, Cryptic Command, a big blocker, just a Coveted Jewel or something like that. What can we do? I think I'm incentivized to cast the Inti, because that in itself presents lethal, or maybe the Lelia, or maybe both, I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's just supposed to be lean into it and pray. Because you want to kind of hold the vehicle back, right? Because then we can still crew in response to a Covenant or a Confluence or something. 1 card plus a Sheldok. I'm going to cast a Lelia. All of my spells present lethal, but they need some sort of response from under the Sheldok. If it's like big and fat like an Archon or an Atraxa, I just can't cope. I'm just dead. My Palace Jailer's gone. My Solitude's gone. I think that's my outs to big threats. And then, yeah. Okay, that worked. What does that mean that that worked? I think you just play into and pray. Begin combat, please. No responses. Crew 1. Oh, I don't know what's going on. So, Smuggler's Copter can resolve last. Oh, that was wrong. Sure, whatever. Elspeth from Lelia. Inti will discard a planes, yeah, that's fine. Put the counters on Lelia, please. Gut. Lelia gets another counter. And then Smuggler's Copter loot, so I did stack it wrong. So I wanted to loot and then discard. Then this is going to get me yet another card for a turn. Oh, here comes the Sheldot card. It's just an Urza, okay. Playable board, playable board. The Urza token trades with everything. Inti's still got a card to give. Their one card in hand needs to be kind of like a blank as well. So we get a mountain from that. So at the very least, we're going to get to play an Elspeth this turn as well. I think it's safe to say after casting Lelia and Inti that they don't have a counterspell in hand. Alright, I'm a massive liar. They've got something. Urza spins. I say, sure. Urza finds a swamp. Probably not what the opponent dreamed of. But they've got an untap for 3, 4. That's not enough. Cool. They move to blocks. Can they survive this? 6 with trample, 5 with trample, 3 in the sky. I'm not counting that, that's up to them. And then I get to make a jumper. This was a good meaty attack, even though I missequenced my triggers. So Urza blocks this guy. This guy blocks this guy, so we take 1, 3, 6, 9. This isn't it. This is 5, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, I think the smallest they can take is 9, right? Which isn't great when you're at 9. I'll give them that. Yeah, so we finish up with a 2-1. So yeah, nice little deck. And we had like quite an optional sideboard. I'm sure there's different ways people would have built this deck, like maybe playing more ones with Detective's Phoenix, like a much lower curve here, get rid of some of the nonsense up here. This Lurrus probably wasn't optimized. This Fire Covenant, I love the card, I think it's insane. So maybe that was another flex slot that we could have bought in out the board, but I felt like having a sweeper. Because it's just a Plague Wind, it's just a one-sided sweeper, it just makes it so much more powerful. But no, nice little red-white splashing black deck. I feel like that match 2, there was something we could have done differently. Like I could have sequenced, I think, in one of the games, the Palace Jailer and the Solitude differently to kill the whole Breacher. But I feel like I played that section well enough to get them to tap out, so we're going into my turn with removal and stuff. But hey ho, cool league. I do kind of like these aggressive decks. They're just very powerful. The white-based proactive decks, where all your 2s kind of do something, all your 1s kind of do something, and they're all generating cards as the game goes on, is really quite powerful. And in league gameplay, it's usually quite open as well, so you can kind of start to farm play points after a while. But anyway, that's going to do it from me. I'm aiming to do a cube draft each Tuesday, so watch out for that. See you soon.